to Kush News, the newscast of the African diaspora. I'm your anchor, Ochanda, daily bringing you the top stories from Africa and the Caribbean. Let's take a look at today's news on Tuesday, July 9th, 2024. We go to Nairobi, Kenya, where our Kush News affiliate, Godwin, has more on the president signing a new bill for the Electoral Commission. Godwin.
Thank you very much, Ochanda. Now, President William Ruto on Tuesday assented the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission IEBC Amendment Bill 2024 during the signing ceremony at the Kenyatta International Conference Center KICC in Nairobi. Ruto affirmed his commitment to fully implementing the new electoral law in line with recommendations of the NADCO report. The bill passed by Parliament is based on the recommendations of the NADCO report and is the product of the bipartisan team comprising leaders from both government and the opposition. The head of state also urged the Parliament to expedite the Conflict of Interest Bill to allow the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission EACC to keep government officials in check. Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua, present at the ceremony, called on the youth to halt the anti-government protest, saying they are ready to come to the table and engage them. On his part, ODM party leader Raila Odinga urged President Ruto to fully implement the National Dialogue Committee NADCO report, expressing optimism that it will address the electoral injustice in the country. However, Odinga criticized the Electoral Commission's incompetence during the last general election. The Azimio chief also expressed his commitment to finding a lasting solution to Kenya's electoral issues, emphasizing the importance of fixing IEBC. Wiper leader Kalonzo Musyoka highlighted the significance of involving Gen Z in the national matters, urging Kenya Kwanza leaders to fully engage the youth.
The IEBC remains a cornerstone of our democracy, responsible for overseeing regular elections at various levels, and on the overall, ensuring that our electoral cycle is managed transparently and administered in an impartial, neutral, efficient, accurate, and accountable manner.
But the NADCO report contains very many issues which are at the heart of the people of Kenya today. If you see the issues which are being raised by our youth, most of them are actually contained in the NADCO report. But if this NADCO report is implemented fully, you'll be able to address all those issues which these young people are raising.
We want to call upon the people of Kenya that violence begets violence. Now that the president has accepted to have a discussion with our young population, with our leaders, we call upon the people of Kenya to give dialogue a chance.
I want to urge that we look at our country afresh. There's no way we can wish away the Gen Z revolution. And if we were to begin to be honest with ourselves, perhaps we need now to go back to bombers.
Your Excellency, let me take this opportunity to assure you and the country that all the other 8 bills that emanated from the NADCO report are in process in both houses. We have divided the bill between the 2 houses of Parliament, and I want to give all of you assurances of both houses that we shall expedite in the processing of these bills with top.
Reporting for Kush News from Nairobi, my name is Godwin, the newsman. Back to you, Ochanda.
Thank you, Godwin. Those in Kenya, let us know your thoughts on where do you think that this goes? Do you think that this helps with the government trying to have more of a reach towards the citizens? Also, do you feel that with the opposition leader Raila Odinga aligning himself with the president, that hurts the protest movement at all? Let's go to Sudan, where the Ethiopian Prime Minister makes a state visit. On Tuesday, Ethiopian Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed arrived in the country on an official visit during which he will hold bilateral talks with the Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, General Abdel Fattah al-Burhan. Abiy Ahmed was received at Port Sudan Airport by al-Burhan and a number of state officials. The Sudanese president welcomed the visit of the Ethiopian prime minister and his delegation, stressing the depth of bilateral relations between Khartoum and Addis Ababa. For his part, the Ethiopian prime minister expressed his pleasure at visiting the country, revealing that his country takes into consideration its relationship with Sudan, noting the cooperation relations between the two various fields in these countries. The discussion by the two sides focused on the necessity of promoting and developing joint cooperation. Those in Sudan, let us know your thoughts on the Ethiopian prime minister making a visit. Pretty big. Let's go to the Sahel region, where a summit ends. The military heads of Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger convened for the inaugural summit of the Confederation of Sahel States. The leaders emphasized the territorial and popular sovereignty as core principles of their leadership through a new treaty. Concurrently, the Economic Community of West African States, known as ECOWAS, is exploring strategies to persuade these nations to return. Colonel Assimi Goïta of Mali and Captain Ibrahim Traoré of Burkina Faso and Niger's General Abdurrahman Tiani met in Niamey, Niger. The three leaders said that they wanted to take the alliance and set it up and take a step further by establishing it as a confederation. The Confederation of the Sahel States, which will use the acronyms AES, is headed by Mali in its first year. The AES holds a population of the three countries at about 72 million people. It pulled out of ECOWAS back in February 2024. However, the ECOWAS leaders are intent on reconciliation. They chose Senegal's President Faye to act as a special envoy for them. He has stressed that on paper, the three Sahel states are still members of ECOWAS for another year, as per Article 91 of the organizations. But the speeches made by the military leaders of the three countries seem to indicate that they are done with ECOWAS and to never return again. Captain Ibrahim Traoré of Burkina Faso criticized what he termed, quote-unquote, house slaves, a euphemism for African leaders he perceives as still under the influence of colonial or former colonial powers. Traoré also said that he does not understand why foreign powers refuse to leave the Sahel states when they have been asked to do so. Also, he states it's really interesting they refuse to leave, but they label Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger as the poorest countries in the world. When we decide to break the chains, the house slaves brought the message of their masters to stop and to comply. The people of Sahel will no longer be manipulated. We will not allow this anymore, said the Burkinabe leader. Colonel Assimi Goïta, the leader of Mali's military, reported that economic cooperation among the three states is progressing, with specific projects already outlined. He expressed gratitude to his Nigerian counterpart for providing crucial hydrocarbon assistance. In April, Niger agreed to supply Mali with 150 milliliters of hydrocarbons at approximately half the market rate. This arrangement aims to fuel Mali's power plants and alleviate frequent power outages. Analysts have noted that Niger's declaration appears to suggest that AES states' intention to establish a common currency to produce and boost their economic development. Those in the Sahel region, let us know your thoughts on the summit for the three countries. Where do you think that this is going? And big shout out to your guys' leaders. Wow. Let's go to Tanzania, where students are building rockets. The University of Dodoma is making strides in space exploration with the successful development of a student-built rocket. A professor of the College of Earth Sciences and Engineering at the university, Dr. Ramadan Bakari, unveiled the achievement at the ongoing 48th Dar es Salaam International Trade Fair. The rocket has a current flight capability of 1,000 meters. Inspired by advancements in space exploration, the students embarked on their research on a project on rockets, and the professor explained that witnessing global efforts in space exploration using rocket technology has motivated the students. The project utilized readily available and affordable materials to construct the rocket, emphasizing the application of scientific principles throughout the process. The students conducted numerous experiments to perfect the design. The university aspires for Tanzania to become self-sufficient in space exploration itself. This ambition includes developing the capability to launch satellites using domestically produced rockets. Those in Tanzania. Wow, that's pretty awesome. Let us know how you feel about rocket production becoming a norm, potentially, in your guys' country. Let's go to South Africa, where a tourist was trampled by elephants. A tourist from Spain had been trampled to death by elephants after climbing out of his car to take photos at a game reserve in South Africa. The unnamed 43-year-old man was visiting Pilanesberg National Park on Sunday morning with his fiancée and 2 other people when the attack happened. According to police, the group had been driving around in their own vehicle before spotting 3 elephants with 3 baby calves. Once the man got out of the car and walked towards the herd, the mother elephant became agitated and charged at him. This was according to the spokesperson for the local tourism board. Unable to escape, the man was then trampled by the rest of the herd. Local media reported that the man was taken to the hospital but died of his injuries. The group of people he was visiting the park with were unharmed. The force says that an investigation is now underway. South Africa's national parks attract more than 1 million visitors each year. Officials say it's crucial that visitors follow safety precautions such as remaining in your vehicle throughout the entire visit and keeping a good distance between animals in your vehicle to give the animals a chance to move more freely. The spokesperson for the tourism body said that it was normal behavior for wild elephants to defend their young. Despite warning from his fellow passengers and occupants from 2 other vehicles, he unfortunately did not heed their concerns. Elephant attacks are not uncommon. Earlier this year, an 80-year-old woman from the United States was killed by an elephant that charged at her vehicle in Zambia. Those in South Africa, let us know your thoughts on the tourists getting trampled by elephants. Also, let us know on where do you see your viewpoint. Do you side with nature or do you side with tourists coming in? Let's go to the Caribbean. And there we go to see Hurricane Beryl. After more than a week of causing havoc across the Caribbean, Hurricane Beryl is finally showing signs of weakening. The National Hurricane Center's latest advisory indicates that the storm is expected to continue on a northeastern track before dissipating within the next few days. Beryl's journey began in the tropic Atlantic late last month when it first became a named storm. It transformed and intensified into a powerful Category 4 hurricane as it moved west, making its first landfall in the Windward Islands on July 1st. The Grenadine Islands of Caracal and Union Island bore the brunt of the fury of the hurricane, suffering complete destruction. As it continued on its path, Beryl briefly weakened into a Category 4 hurricane while brushing through Jamaica's southeastern coast on July 3rd. The storm then encountered winds in the northwestern Caribbean Sea and then weakened when it reached Honduras and Cuba. It also weakened a little bit before it met a second landfall in Mexico's Yucatan Peninsula on July 5th. Upon entering the Gulf of Mexico the following day, the hurricane had been downgraded to a tropical storm due to its prolonged interaction with land. However, the storm regained strength over the open water and redeveloped into a hurricane by Sunday. Beryl made its final landfall in central Texas as early as Monday as a Category 1 hurricane. Beryl began to dissipate by 11 p.m. last night, becoming a tropical depression. This hurricane has set several records, becoming the strongest hurricane to form this early in the hurricane season, and the earliest forming Category 5 hurricane in the Atlantic on record, beating the previous record by 2 weeks. Its path of destruction has left a trail of devastation and a loss of life in countries that were affected. Those in the Caribbean, let us know your thoughts on this first hurricane of the hurricane season, it being a Category 5 hurricane If you have any information on how people can help, whether financially or with supplies to those islands that were affected, especially Grenada and some of the islands of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, please leave a comment below. When we come back, we'll have today's African proverb of the day. Don't go anywhere.
Senator and a Mashijuba, Senator and I know dollar waka this year. Senator and a Mashijuba, Senator and I know Salam Naja this year. Senator and a Mashijuba, Senator and I know dollar waka this year. Senator and a Mashijuba, Senator and I know Salam Naja this year. I saw some news rolling on Twitter and other news hanging on Insta, WhatsApp, Facebook, Snapchat, YouTube. All of my CPs, no more enemies. On TV, Salam big news.
Welcome back. Let's take a look at today's African proverb of the day, and it comes to us from Benin. What's going on, Benin? I got to make it to you guys' festival. Huh? Yeah, it looks pretty fun. And it reads, a child on the back doesn't find a fortune. Once again, a child on the back doesn't find a fortune. Bini proverb, meaning Benin proverb. You know what this is referring to is that those that just stay in their comfort zone usually don't get to experience the joy of what comes from taking a risk. You know, this can mean a lot of things, but you know, for me, it really means you know, that thing. Usually, as men, you get that feeling in your gut, like you want to do something, and then sometimes your brain says, "Oh, it's going to be too dangerous," or "What if this happens? What if that happens?" Or "Hey, what if you fail on this?" And blah 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 blah. But you never know. You know, your brain is really, really powerful because it can tell you as a grown man, maybe you're 6'5", 6'6", over 230 pounds, and your brain will tell you, like, don't leave the house today. Isn't that crazy? But it's up to you to talk to your brain. Imagine, yeah, you need to talk to your brain, and a lot of times tell your brain, shut up. I got this. It's not going to be as bad as what you think it is. Let me know your interpretation of today's African proverb of the day, as well as your thoughts, views, questions, comments, and concerns on the top stories. Don't forget to hit that like button. Make it your best friend. For Kush News on Kush Combos TV, I'm Ochanda. We'll see you soon.